Dunkin Donuts, one of the world's largest coffee and baked goods chains, has more than 12,600 stores globally, with over 9,000 in the US alone. No matter for meals or tea breaks, many Americans will choose Dunkin's, which can be found on the street corner of almost every US city. Dunkin' has come to be thought of as America's all-day restaurant, with many choosing it as an everyday stop after home and the office. Even the brand itself proudly claims that America runs on Dunkin', but obviously China doesn't. In the US, Dunkin' is regarded as a major competitor for Starbucks. However, compared to Starbucks' huge scale of 5,557 stores in China, Dunkin's less than 20 stores across the nation, as seen on Tencent Maps, looks quite pathetic. Although the brand entered mainland China 14 years ago, only a small number of people have heard of it. In fact, Dunkin has always dreamed big for the market. In 2008, the company tapped into the nation with its first shop in Shanghai. At that time, Dunkin announced over the next 10 years, the company would collaborate with franchise partner Mercuries & Associates to open 100 shops in Shanghai, with a further 50 being planned in Guangdong through a partnership with Shanxi Stellaric Food and Restaurant Company. That meant by 2018, China was expected to have 150 Dunkin restaurants. In 2011, Dunkin opened its 10,000th restaurant in Xi'an, with the restaurant also being the brand's 10th in the city at the time. Meanwhile, the brand announced that they had entered other second-tier cities like Shenzhen and Chengzhou. However, once reaching a peak of 55 mainland China stores in 2012, the number of Dunkins across the nation then began to shrink. By January 2015, there were only 22 left. So in that month, Dunkin announced that it had entered into a franchise agreement with a joint venture of the Filipino food giant Jollibee to open more than 1,400 restaurants across China over the next 20 years. Dunkin said it was the largest development agreement in the brand's history. This was interpreted as an important step to chase after Starbucks in the market. However, this year, in 2022, Dunkin's WeChat account for Northeast China shows the region only has 5 stores, with all of them in the capital, Beijing. Besides, in 2013, Dunkin signed another franchise agreement with Fast Gourmet Group to develop the brand in eastern China, to open more than 100 restaurants in the Shanghai, Jiangsu and Zhejiang regions. However, now Dunkin only has 8 stores there according to its East China WeChat account. While the dream was promising, the reality was miserable. Why did Dunkin fail in China? First, while Americans love donuts, people in China are not so keen. In the US, people will happily choose donuts for breakfast, with far fewer making the same choice in China. This high sugar, high oil food is seen in China as a dessert and a reward or occasional treat with friends. It is not a frequently consumed product. Second, although the brand has tailored innovation for the market, for example, the dry pork and seaweed donut, Dunkin's donuts are still too sweet for the Chinese palate, not to mention the trend for healthier diets that contain less sugar and fewer calories. But if the Chinese are not into donuts, will they love Dunkin's coffee? In 2008, Dunkin Donuts dropped the word donuts from their name, due to the company wanting to be more coffee-led. Today, Dunkin sells approximately 2 billion cups of coffee globally every year. It is indeed one of the largest coffee chains in the world. But in China, most consumers don't associate Dunkin with coffee. When mentioning Dunkin, what comes to their mind is still donuts. Besides, Dunkin further faces the challenges of limited locations, high rent, and ambiguous brand positioning when expanding in the market. As Dunkin has been unable to build a large-scale operation over the years, the brand cannot have strong recognition in the hearts of Chinese consumers. So Dunkin, cheer up.